Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Consulting House. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate to have so many people here, such an audience. We know that your time is precious, and we appreciate that you make us time of either your lunchtime or your evening, depending of the time zone from which you have joined. Today, we'll make it relatively quick. We want to give you an overview about who we are and what we are doing. So for that, we will also briefly look into what is product information management, which is basically what we do, master data management and product information management. And also what our services are in detail, with a couple of cases as well, a couple of examples of what we are doing when we are running our either PIM implementation projects or PIM advisory, or we help you out with getting your data right. And also then we'll talk a little bit about how you start with us. We have a special offer for you as well, right? And then we'll open it up for questions. First of all, talking about us, Digital Consulting House. We are located or originated from the United States. I personally, I come from Germany. I'm a mechanical engineer. 28 years ago, I started my career supporting manufacturers in the area of quality management and process improvement, which all required data. So in the manufacturing space, you need master data, while also transactions and everything. And that's basically what I implemented software, homegrown software. And that brought me into the space of databases, master data management. In the year 2000, I went into e-commerce and worked for some of the largest agencies on this planet, for Publicis and also for McCann Erickson. I did that over a decade with clients like Renault, Nissan, or General Motors, or Nestlé. Before already having moved to the United States as part of my General Motors engagement, I took over the professional services and consulting team of a supplier of product information management software called Hyla, right? Some of you might still remember Hyla. Hyla ultimately was acquired by Informatica, and the product I was in charge of is now nowadays called Informatica P360. That was 2013, end of 2013 when that happened. I decided to start my own business. And that is what Digital Consulting House is 10 years later. So started in the US, met some excellent people on my journey. You find them here also in the meeting. And then 2015, we extended back into my home country, into Germany. And in our days, we also have a location in India and also in Mexico. So we have some offshore capabilities which allow us to extend our talent pool, also to offer you some more cost-effective solutions. Whereas in our days, cost plays less of a role rather than capabilities, services, competence. And that's what we have to offer here a lot, actually, with the team we have here. Apart from myself, there is Mr. Tom Gottweis with also similar experience in IT, long-standing experience with master data management with some of the largest companies on this planet. Mr. Wesselburg, who is our electronic publishing expert. So he knows everything about InDesign and how to create catalogs based on the data which you find in an MDM system. Mr. Rai, who is our sales and marketing director and who is basically organizing all the logistics around these events as well. Summit, again, thank you for that. And then we also have a couple of other team members here. Mr. Grünbichler, who just recently joined us and who is in charge of the so-called DACH region, and also Mr. Tom Westbrook, who is one of our senior architects when it comes to integrations, right? So, and then obviously I see a good number of people here as well. Quick overview on that slide, what we are doing. PIM and MDM advisory, right? And also how to use that in other channels. So in our days, we do a lot with social media as well, and help our customers to extend their range. We are using these techniques also to get in contact with you guys and pull you into these occasions, of course, right? Which just gives us an opportunity to meet you. PIM and MDM implementation, that's our bread and butter. Either Informatica, Stibo, PIM Core, Akineo, you name it, right? We have experience with, over the last 10 years, we collected experience with a lot of systems. Predominantly, we are in the enterprise space. So larger scale manufacturers, distribution companies, and retail. Then, as I already mentioned with Mr. Wesselburg, we also do print catalogs, or print catalogs in our days are not really printed anymore. Most of them just exist as PDF, and sometimes they are even instantaneously generated. And that still plays a large role. So we are using MDM, automation, machine learning to automate that process even more. Integrations, I mentioned that as well. Data stewardship, mastering and cleansing. There is a lot of demand for that as well in our days. So especially with companies acquiring other businesses and then inheriting their ERP systems, their PLM systems and everything. So consolidating data, cleansing it, and bringing it into one single source of truth. That's also a big thing we are seeing here. AI, machine learning. Well, we have expertise in that space as well, and already did a couple of projects. And then last but not least, also training. In particular, we have a good focus in the electrical industry. So ETIM, BME CAT, E-Class. This is all not foreign vocabulary for us, or BIM, right? So again, that's all what we do. So here a couple of our customers. Actually, this slide even doesn't contain all of them, because on some of them we have NDAs and we're not allowed to mention them. So again, over time we collected good experience, particular manufacturing and distribution, the B2B space. That's what turned out over time really to be our sweet spot, right? So what is product information management? Which definition are we going with? Product information management for us is not a system. Product information management is really a set of processes. And I have a good definition here from a website called Techopedia, which I like, right? Which is a set of processes which you use to evaluate the data, to identify what you need, to store the data, to manage and distribute it. And if you have a set of Excel spreadsheets and you have a process in place to collect information from the various sources and to master them, to classify them, to enrich, and then also to distribute, to syndicate, then you already have a PIM. Right? It's maybe not a pretty PIM, and it comes with a lot of problems, but you already have a PIM. Obviously, in our days, people are trying to have a consolidated system, a consolidated place. Today, more and more software as a service, right? So that you not even have your own infrastructure, but you have a vendor taking care of that. What you want to achieve with that, obviously you expect something out of it, otherwise you wouldn't do it. Right? First of all, it's being faster on the market. Right? So if you're a manufacturer and you create a new product, well, you're selling to distribution companies and you're selling to the outside world, maybe also directly, then obviously it's imperative that you get that out as fast as possible, because if you don't have the data in place, you can't work with it. And there are companies who are more like on the Excel spreadsheet side, who then take maybe weeks to get a product on the market. And obviously that is not necessarily something people really aim for, right? So higher conversion rates, right? The better the data is, maybe rich information with 360 degrees angles and nice pictures, nice descriptions, and not just that, but also accurate information, just hard technical specs, right? The higher is your conversion, the more likely it is that the customer buys with you. And that also means higher revenue and also higher margins, right? In particular to something which is called the long tail strategy, right? The more capabilities you have to process data faster, the more products you can also offer out of the overall offering. So you can also offer the products which are maybe not that frequently requested, which well, sounds contradictory in the first place, but typically these products also have less competition, and hence you can have higher margins on them as well, right? So there's interesting business effects people are looking for when they are applying PIM systems, right? And really, like, also in B2B, and that's a specific case, things have become now also like in B2C, right? So even if you are selling to business, you have to be like an Amazon, right? You there is less physical interaction still yet. Well, COVID has somewhat been gone away, but the effects were more longer lasting. So I know that from my business, less traveling, more of these online meetings, right? So you have to look into that you get good search engine result pages, right? That you get a higher ranking in search engine. For that, you need good data. It all comes down that you need to have good data, right? And a PIM system as such will not guarantee you good data. It's a tool. So you still have to apply some strategies to get good data, right? And that helps you also with the distribution companies, that helps you with e-commerce hubs, and digital catalogs as well, social media, everything, right? You have to be present, competitive, persuasive, everywhere customers gather information. So this is an example here, for instance, well, this is a simple cable tie of one of our customers. They are not just doing cable ties, but that's an example. And here it's actually what the distribution company or one of the distribution companies told them what they have to deliver, right, in order to have good data, right? There's some mandatory data. If you don't have that, then you are not even on the list. Then you're not even on the in the shop, right? Like brand name, long description, product images, short description. They have to be properly set up, by the way. Technical attributes in electrical space, ETIM attributes they might ask for at least, search keywords, UPC, EAN. But really what they want to see is enriched content, right? The 360-degree image I was talking about, all the different media assets, and also things like cut sheets and security sheets and all this, right? Material safety sheets, and also references, the functional equivalents. So there's one which is going out of stock or is being obsoleted. What is replacing that product, right? Videos, upsells, and so on. So there's lots of information, and it's sometimes in a large company not that easy to get that. Maybe you can get that for a couple of items, maybe for a couple of 100 items. But if you say, okay, I have 100,000 products and 20,000 products, because I know I sell them all the time, need to have that good data, then it's a major endeavor to get there. I speak out of experience as I work with some of these companies to get them to that point, right? So we summarize that into something we call the hot 7 product characteristics everyone should have. Descriptions, images, keywords, right? All the references, technical specs, assets, all the logistical data. All of this is necessary to do business. So it comes down really to the point, you need good data, right? So the tools alone are only one aspect, but in order to get good data, you have to look into other aspects as well, right? And that's basically what we are helping you with. not just the technical implementation of a PIM system, right? That's something everyone can do, but we have the background, we have the experience, and also the strategic acumen to start really from a point where we assess where you are, and then develop a strategy for the various aspects of your business, right? So I forgot to mention, right? I'm not just a mechanical engineer, but I also studied marketing as well. So I have a marketing degree as well, and apply what I've learned since my agency time. So I was a long time with advertising agencies, where we also did strategy development for our customers. Right? Apply that here for what we are doing. So there are things where, like, assessing your business processes, or again, developing a strategy from scratch with things like as is, to be, SWOT, and various other techniques. So the right selection of tools, right? The selection of the right tool for your business, which is maybe not just MDM, but some tools around it as well. Setting up data governance, and doing all the enablement and training, right? So we come to you when it comes to these workshops. We can also do them online. We have all the tools in place to do on and offline workshops, right? Another thing we're doing, obviously, that's our core business. So PIM MDM implementation, and also integrations, right? ETL, extract, transform, load. Well, there are tools for that purpose alone, like Talent or Informatica. We know quite well, because I've done that many times. So here as well, we start with blueprinting. So we evaluate where you are, what your challenges are, what the to-be setting is you really like to have or need to have, right? And then we develop also the process, and then how we adapt that to the tool of choice, the MDM tool of choice. Maybe an Informatica or a Stibo or an Akeneo or InRiver or whatever you are using. Then data model and taxonomy configuration. As I just mentioned, and I'm hammering that point home all the time, it's all about the data. So and good data starts with having a good order for it. So having a proper data model, and in particular taxonomy, an enterprise taxonomy, which defines what a product is, and also which attributes that product is going to get because of that classification, right? And developing an enterprise taxonomy is also a major undertaking, and we find sometimes companies who even don't have one, who just use their shop categorization categories as their taxonomies, and that works to a certain extent, but there are limitations of that approach. So we also help you with your digital asset management, and then things like data quality, business rules, workflows, and then the whole integration business, which can be as simple as batch files or some ETL processes where we extract the data, for instance, out of an ERP system and bring it back into your PIM, or vice versa, out of the PIM to your shop system. But there's also, nowadays, there are some modern techniques like Kafka, for instance, which is being used for event-based communication, where systems are acting as so-called data producers, and then there are data consumers. It's like a radio, right? So you have a radio channel, and people are listening to it, and they just pick out, for instance, there's a changed product, there's a new product, but which is only interesting for a specific market, and only that system for that market is then picking that up, right? Data migration, as I said, also consolidation out of legacy systems, and the whole project and program management around it. Several of us, including myself, also PMP certified, and we run programs or projects end to end, right? Each of us has experience with some of the largest companies on this planet, multi-million-dollar programs. So if you're looking for someone who is really providing that and doing that end to end, just to get you a key turnkey ready solution, right? We are also that company for that purpose. And then, as I mentioned, that's a very interesting piece of implementation as well. That's the electronic catalogs and database publishing, where your catalog, you see these tables here and the content and the picture. Instead of doing that via copy and paste, it's all being generated out of the data source itself. For that, you define page templates, you define for these individual products, you define templates, and all of these become placeholders and layout rules, which automatically will take care, for instance, if the table becomes too big, or it has to be broken over into the next page and things like that, right? All of this can be automated, and we know how to do that, right? And not just for the big industrial catalogs, but also for maybe the smaller individual product data sheets or catalogs which are created on the fly. This is also a very interesting case, and a lot of companies are using that. So there is not too much real print out anymore, but the generation of PDFs that has increased like never before, right? So, and then we have integrations in general, like we're using these exchange formats like PMECAT or FAPDIS or GS1, support for taxonomies like Unisphere C, eTIM, eClass, event-based communication, or RESTful integrations, right? So we have both the MDM expertise, but also the development expertise as well. And the folks who are with us, they are long in this business. So they know what works and not works, in particular in this context of MDM, right? And then there's another service we just recently added last year, is a data cleansing service, where basically you tell us where the original data from the different sources lies, and then we are integrating that, bringing that into software as a service data repository, and then run it through the cleaning cycle, right? And then the enrichment cycle, whatever needs to be done, so that you can use it in one consolidated system. Again, it's in particular interesting if you went through acquisitions and have multiple systems and where the data is coming from. That's where we can help as well. We can also use AI and machine learning to classify products, to write descriptions, and all of this. So there's expertise on our end for that as well. And also we do trainings like live and remote, right? So you see here some examples. In our days, it's more remote than live, but I still would say there is still a good value in doing things live, right? So and well, just one, so to say, case how we approach these projects with you, right? So well, first of all, we believe that before we start any endeavor, we should have a good understanding of what we want to achieve. So so SMART goals are the first starting point. So we typically, when we go into a workshop with you, we assess how you are doing things right now, in particular the PIM part, of course, and what your challenges are, and what your business goals are, and when it comes to PIM, right? And SMART, well, what does SMART mean? SMART is an acronym here, stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. So a goal is only a goal if it's specific, so you can measure if it has been achieved, and also if it's something which can be also achieved, and it should be in your realm, right? If you say I want to land on Mars next year, then probably that's not something in your realm of influence, and it should also have a time goal, right? So a good SMART goal would be, for instance, coming back to that example which I just brought with the 100,000 products. I want to have 20,000 products having all the top 7 attributes or properties being assigned with a full set of data by end of 2024. That would be a SMART goal. That would be specific, would be measurable. It probably is also achievable depending on your organization, is in your realm, and is also timely. That is a goal, right? Also, we're looking into your maturity as well. That's one of the tools we are using. we're looking, okay, how accurate is your data, how consistent, how complete, how traceable are your process, and so on, and also monitor that over time. And then, as I said, for every endeavor, there are 4 + 1 ingredients for everything you want to achieve, right? You need to have the people, so the organization, right? These people need to know what they are doing. You need to have a process or a plan in place, and you need to have the tools. So the PIM tool is only a tool, and I don't want to stress the tool and the fool, but there are the other ingredients as well. And there's a 5th ingredient, which is culture, which is representing also the willingness of everyone in the organization to do this, right? So which means also that PIM MDM, if you run this as an initiative, then you need to have the backing of the executive management, naming the C-level people as well, right? So, and then applying further breakdown of these goals or of the vision, then leads to something which we call a goal model, right? So where you have broken down your overall vision into these SMART goals, into these objectives, and you identify the strategies which you are applying, the things you do, right, to achieve these goals, and also the success factors, like, for instance, support of senior management, right? And that gives you already the elements of a roadmap of activities, of strategies you are applying, and also more like the fine planning, right? So, and then you start to execute that, and then you measure success, and then you rinse and repeat, right? So, and as I said, there is a special offer I have for everyone who would like to engage with us. So first of all, we offer you a 30-minute initial assessment initial assessment meeting, not training. And if we come to the conclusion it's worth to develop further, right, then you can get a 4-hour free workshop with us, right, where we are basically go through these steps, which gives you a better understanding. Sometimes people are surprised what they learn, even about their own company and their own teams. So you should not do that alone. You should do that with your teammates who are relevant here. Also gives us a good understanding of what you really need and how we can help, right? And then we can start actually going deeper into discovery, and then we are happy to make you then a fixed price. You can also do time material, fair offering, right? And because of our diverse team, which is in different locations, we can be also very cost effective as well, right? By not compromising on quality, right? And then you decide, okay, do I want to go with these folks? That's basically how it works. Okay, and that brings me to the end. So I open it up for questions, if you have any. No questions. You can also type your questions into the chat. Okay, maybe I just walk through. Let's start with Mr. Schönwald. Do you have any questions? We have not that many people here, so maybe if you want, just introduce yourself quickly. Or Munesh. Any questions? Okay. If there are not any more questions, here. What is the average budget needed for a PIM project? That's a good one, actually. It's almost like asking what is the price of a car or the price of a house. But nevertheless, depending on what is in scope, if you start from scratch, you can expect something in the area of 6 to 9 months for a full-fledged implementation. And also a budget which is ranging between maybe 250 grand to 500 grand, right? It depends on various factors. But for that price, and then plus the license, of course, there is a good chance that you can get this done. It's also possible to maybe shave some of the efforts out at the beginning and just go a more agile route where you first just do the base implementation and then do in sprints. And of course, the more you do with your own people, the less you would have cost with someone like us as a service supplier. I can only recommend that you get yourself, even on your own site, someone who has expertise as your own, like PIM architect, PIM lead, or master data management lead. We can also help with finding someone on the market, by the way. That's also what we are doing.